Digital Joyride, the show in which I talk about video games and my opinions on them. I am your host, ThatKidDouglas, aka the Unhero, the internet's loneliest D-list personality. And it's been a long time since I've made an episode of Digital Joyride, but I feel today was the time to bring this series back from the ashes. Because today, I'm talking about the one, the only, Zoe Quinn. Yes, I'm actually talking about Zoe Quinn again. I know, it's some kind of weird parallel universe we're living in. Now, why do I feel the need to Why do I feel the need to talk about Zoe Quinn again? Well, I'll get to that in a second. But, disclaimer before we start, I'm not going to rededicate my resources into making more videos about Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian. For 3 reasons. 1, I've already tapped that well dry for what it was worth. 2, I don't want to give these frauds any more attention than I've already given them. And 3, there's other topics that simply interest me more. Now, let's get on to the main topic. Now, Zoe Quinn's book, titled Crash Override, How to Save the Internet from Itself, which is not a douchey, hipstery title in any way, is getting option for a movie adaptation. No, I'm not kidding. I did not stutter there. The rights for Zoe Quinn's book will be optioned for a future movie adaptation, which means we could potentially see a Gamergate Zoe Quinn movie on the big screen in the near future. This is so dumb that it's almost not worth talking about, but since this book will probably be filled with lies and cherry-picked evidence to make herself seem like the victim, to make herself seem like the good girl, I have to talk about this, because this is bullshit. This is just absolute nonsense. Now look, I'm not attacking her because she's a woman or because I'm a neck-bearded misogynist. No, that's never why I've gone after Zoe Quinn. This pisses me off because there's a lot of talented female developers in the gaming industry who make actual games, and more importantly, actually make good games. And they've never had to resort to any of the tactics Zoe Quinn has resorted to in order to make a name for themselves in the video game industry. But nobody talks about them and their accomplishments and achievements. But for some reason, we've decided that this whiny, self-important twat is worth talking about because meanies on the internet are... Is Zoe Quinn important? No, she's not. And let me tell you, if Zoe Quinn and her fraud partner in crime, Anita Sarkeesian, died tomorrow, the world has lost nothing. Seriously, Zoe Quinn is the very definition of unwarranted self-importance. What has she done? She made a non-game with Depression Quest, and I don't care if anybody calls me a misogynist. I don't care if anybody says I hate women. I don't. I'm just giving my honest opinion. Depression Quest was not a game, and you cannot convince me otherwise. It's not. It's just a shitty point-and-click questionnaire. That's all that it is. She slept with 5 guys in order to advance her career in the video game industry. She abused, both physically and emotionally, her ex-boyfriend, Aaron. And this is all documented in the Zoe post, which if you haven't read, please do. It's an excellent read. Please do read it. And I could go on for hours. Oh, and she attacked the forum WizardChan, saying that they were essentially telling her to go kill herself, and they were threatening to kill her and all this other shit, even though they never said any of that, and Zoe Quinn had essentially made it up, and the escapist ran the story, even though they knew they were only getting one side of the story and Zoe was lying, but they still ran the story anyway, just so they could make money. And I could go on for hours. Her track record on the internet is already pretty horrendous, and she's burned a lot of bridges in the video game industry. This just stinks of desperation. It does. It totally stinks of desperation because Zoe Quinn knows that she's irrelevant. She knows that her 15 minutes of fame expired a long time ago. So she's trying to stay in the public conscience. She's trying to stay in the headlines so people talk about her. She's essentially the Kardashians of gaming. That's what she is. She does all this dumb, outlandish shit so people will continue to talk about her. And really... people on the internet are making your life a living hell, Zoe? Really? Because God forbid anybody dares to criticize you. God forbid anybody calls you out on your shit. But no, meanies on the internet are making my life a living hell, so I'm gonna make a book about it filled with lies and cherry-picked evidence to make myself look like the victim. Wah! Really? Here's some advice for you, Zoe. Free of charge, coming from your good old pal, the Unhero. If you can't handle criticism, if you can't handle haters and trolls hating and trolling on you for the purpose of hating and trolling, you know you can just leave the internet, stay off of it. It's not that hard. Just delete all your social media pages and stay the fuck off the internet. You can totally do that, free of charge. It's not that hard to do. Oh, but that actually require effort. That would actually require you doing something about the situation. But no, you're just gonna stand you're just gonna stand out there like a damsel in distress, waiting for people to save you, waiting for people to defend you before you'll actually do anything about it. And that's sad. It's truly, truly sad. And honestly, while part of me wants to see this movie get made, because we all know it's going to be terrible, it's going to be filled with lies and cherry-picked evidence to make her seem like a special little snowflake, but part of me doesn't want it to get made, because really, she's going to be lying to billions of people, and that's depending if this movie gets made. She's going to be lying to billions upon billions of people about her being a good person, when in fact, there's proven evidence that she's a really shitty person. And again, it's not slander. There's proven evidence of this, of all the things that she's done. And again, if you want greater insight to it, just go read the Zoe post. Oh, and by the way, I'll leave a link to the article in the description on Deadline.com about Crash Override, so, you can get a greater insight, because you truly have to read it to believe it. And I'll be honest, I'm sick of this double standard bullshit. I really, really am. Because let's be honest, any of these social justice warriors that defend these frauds, let's be honest, if a man did half of the stuff that Zoe Quinn has done, we'd be wanting his head on a fucking stick, for God's sake. We'd be going on a goddamn witch hunt. We'd be trying to drive men out of the gaming industry. But for some reason, because she's a woman, that makes it okay. That makes her free of criticism. That's nonsense. Creator of Cards Against Humanity, Max Tompkin, I think I'm saying his name right. I hope I'm saying his name right. Who was accused of rape by somebody that he used to go to college with. The news media ran with it and dragged his name through the mud and utterly ruined his reputation, even though they really had no evidence to back up these claims, but they still ran the story anyway. But when there's factual evidence of Zoe Quinn doing the stuff that she's done, people just sweep it under the rug as if it's no big deal. Oh, and anybody that dares to criticize her is branded as a misogynist. So, when a man does it, it's horrible. It's horrifying. We have to ruin him. But when a woman does it, oh, it's okay. We'll sweep it under the rug, and if anybody dares to criticize it, you're a misogynist who hates women. Screw that. If feminists want things to be equal, and I want things to be equal, then they should be treated equal as well. And that means a woman should be treated... If a woman does the same stuff that a man does, especially if it's just as despicable, they should be treated just as fairly as a man. That's all I'm saying. That's really all that I'm saying. And honestly, remember when Boogie Tonight 88 was banned from NeoGAF last year simply for supporting Gamergate? I actually was going to do a video about this last year, but simply put, I just kind of lost interest in it, and I just couldn't really articulate it into a calm sort of manner that would make an entertaining video. But now, knowing this happened, I feel like I need to talk about it. Yeah, he was banned from NeoGAF last year, simply for supporting Gamergate. And if you know anything about Boogie 2988, he's one of the nicest guys on YouTube. And he wasn't threatening to kill anybody, he wasn't doxing anybody, he wasn't harassing anybody. He was simply trying to provide a common ground between Gamergaters and anti-Gamergaters. That's all he was trying to do, and he was banned for it, because apparently having any sort of dissenting opinion is bad. Now, disclosure, I'm actually a member of NeoGAF, and I'm not saying that everybody on NeoGAF.com is an elitist asshole. Quite the contrary, a lot of people on that site are very nice. It's just a certain section of the community are elitist assholes. I'm just putting that out there in case anybody says I'm generalizing. I'm not. The one thing I've noticed about the people that defend them, and I call them special snowflake defenders, is that they're hypocrites. Because the owner of their site, Tyler Malka, aka Evil Lore, was actually caught sexually harassing a woman while he was on a trip in Italy. And again, it's not slander because there's actual evidence of this. I'll leave a link in the description down below so you guys can read it. And they totally sweep that under the rug. Nobody even mentions it. Nobody even brings it up. And I know why. Because if anybody dared to even mention it, they'd be banned instantly. So why is it that's okay? That's fucking despicable that he did that. I believe if you are going to touch a woman that you should get her consent first. Don't just go all feely grabby. But for some reason, that's okay. That's okay. You know, we're totally willing to sweep that under the rug and not talk about it. Oh, but when Zoe Quinn has done all this, all this despicable shit, that makes it okay? Or when Boogie2908 is simply supporting a movement that you don't like, you have to ban him, that's okay? That's okay to censor a guy, simply for supporting a movement you don't like. But, you know, that's not okay. But it's okay for the owner of your own site to sexually assault a woman? And you're not going to say anything about that? Yeah, you're a hypocrite. And let me point it out there. Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian does not give a shit about you. They don't. They're laughing at you because they know, no matter what they do, no matter what unethical, despicable thing they do, they always know they're going to have idiots defending them, no matter what. And if you go on YouGaf and if you dare to criticize Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian, even if it's constructive, even if it's factual, you are instantly branded a misogynist. You are instantly branded as someone that hates women. Again, I find that's nonsense, and that's a double standard, because we all know that if a man did any of the stuff that Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian have done, we'd be wanting their heads on sticks. We'd be going on a witch hunt. We'd be trying to drive them out of the industry. We'd be saying they're vile, despicable pieces of shit. And truth be told, I would say the same thing if a man did the same things that Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian have done. So don't worry, there's no bias here. So again, they're just bold-faced hypocrites who will defend anything these hacks do because they feel they're somehow important. They're not. They're terribly unimportant, and let's be honest, is anyone still going to care about Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian in 2 to 3 years from now? No. Does the general public care what Gamergate is, or hell, who even Zoe Quinn is? Hell no. So if this movie gets made, it's just going to tank and bomb. And if it doesn't get made, it's just going to be a failed experiment in getting special snowflakes on the big screen. I'm done. That's all I gotta say. This is ThatKidDouglas, aka the Unhero, signing out. Deuces. Stay frosty and keep it weird. Cue the random explosion. What's up?